I've been in 3 different bodybuilding competitions over the years, and that's really not a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. And the reason why I haven't been in a whole lot of them is because it's just a very, very rigorous routine. It's very tough to get prepared for these things in a way where you're going to be really, really competitive. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys some tips out there. Now, again, I'm not a professional bodybuilder. I'm not a professional anything, but I have been to a couple of bodybuilding competitions and I've placed pretty well. So today I'm going to give you guys my top 10 tips for training for your first bodybuilding competition. Number 1, lose more weight than you think you need to. Now, depending on what your journey is like, you might be going from the opposite end of the spectrum than I was. Because when I started with my competition, I picked a date that was way out in June, and I started training for it in November. So I gave myself a lot of time to get ready. Because when I started training for it, I was about 280 pounds. So I knew just based on the weight limit criteria that I was going to have to lose a lot of weight, because I think super heavyweight was 225 and above. And 225, I think I was that heavy in the 8th grade. So I knew I was going to have to lose a lot of weight. So lose more weight than you think you need to, because you might get down to a weight where you feel good and you look good in the mirror, but you have to look at yourself really objectively. You might have the 6-pack abs start popping up and some good striations in the arms and some veins popping out, but take a look at the bigger muscle groups. Take a look at your low back. Take a look at your glutes. Take a look at your hamstrings. Take a look at your quads. Take a look at your chest. If you're still holding water in those areas, it may mean that you have to lose even more weight. My first competition, I got all the way down from 280 pounds to 211 pounds, and I still only got second. So you're going to have to lose more weight than you might think. If you're thinking about losing, 5-6 pounds, it might be more like 20 to do your first show. Everybody thinks people in the gym who pose and who look at themselves from all angles are vain. They're probably doing the right thing, because you have to practice your posing a lot. I would tell everybody out there, if you're going to be in a bodybuilding competition, practice your posing often. I mean, at least twice a week. At the very minimum, twice a week. You should be practicing your posing every day, because if you've never sat and held a front double biceps pose for 60 seconds, it is hard. It's especially hard if you do it right after your workout. If you just did a chest day or an arm day or a leg day, try and hold those poses for 1 minute, just for 1 minute. See if you don't start sweating and you might have to just stop for a second and regroup. It's really tough. And when you're on that stage, remember, you're going to be dehydrated, you're going to be low in calories, you're going to be deficient. It's going to be even harder. So practice your posing often. When the morning of that show comes, you're going to be so excited. You're going to be, oh my God, this is so great. You'll wake up in the morning, you take a look at your abs, and they're all shredded and diced up, and you're looking all great. And you might think to yourself, you know what? I don't want to eat anything. I don't want to eat anything because I just want my physique to stay just like this. Well, listen, you got to remember that your physique changes during the day. When I first wake up in the morning, I might have abs and dick root and all kinds of great stuff showing off. But by the end of the day, I might be a little soft. So one thing you have to make sure you have to do is you have to keep the nutrition going even on the day of the show. What I did, and again, this is just my own personal experience, I ate a baked potato the morning of the show, small one, maybe like standard sized potato. I might have eaten like half of it, because you got to remember, when you first get to the venue, you're not going to step right on stage. You're probably going to have to wait around for a little while. So make sure you're still feeding your body, in smaller increments, but you don't want to go in there with nothing in your stomach. You definitely want to eat something the day of the show. So do your research, find out what is going to dry you out a little extra. Usually a healthy dose of carbs, like something starchy, like a potato or a baked potato, or even like some bread and like a turkey sandwich I've seen some people eat. Just make sure your body is fed the day of the show. Even if you look in the mirror and you think you're ready, you're going to have to keep the nutrition up. During your prep for your bodybuilding competition, you want to focus on the bigger muscle groups. the abdominals will come. Everybody focuses on the abdominals, including me, guilty, but you got to focus on the bigger muscle groups. You got to focus on the back and the legs. Those are probably the two biggest muscle groups that you really want to focus on. You might have some big guns, you might have some nice calves, but if you don't have a back, if your back is all watery and blown out, you're not going to get a championship. If your legs are flat and they don't have any striations or any definition in them, you're not going to win. So focus on the biggest muscle groups. Focus on the ones that are going to stick out the most. And the thing is that if you focus on those if you focus on the big muscle groups, remember those muscle groups are attached to the smaller ones. So if you're working on your back really hard, working on the back is also going to translate to the shoulders, to the arms. Same thing with your legs. If you're doing big squats, big leg press, that's going to focus on the quads, but it's also going to radiate over to the glutes, hamstrings, calves, the whole package. Remember, you're a bodybuilder. You want to be the whole package, not just a big bicep peak and nothing else. One thing that you're going to find out in the course of your first prep for a competition is your weak points. And everybody has them. I have them. You have them. We all have them. Your weak points, you want to spend particular attention to, because those are the things. I mean, I know myself, for some reason I have a pretty big chest. I have a pretty wide chest. That's just the way I'm made. I have a pretty wide chest. I have a pretty decent pair of shoulders, but my weak points, like I have smaller forearms, I have smaller calves, I hold a lot of water in my abdomen and in my low back. So those are weak points that I got to work on specifically. So what I usually do is at the end of a workout, any workout, even if it's a leg day, if you have small calves, go and grab or I should say, if you have small forearms and it's a leg day, grab a dumbbell, do some forearm curls. Or if it's an upper body day and you have small calves, work some calf work in there. Try to use try to get some work in on your weak points every workout. If you have small calves, do a little calves every day. If you're working on your bicep peak, do a little biceps every day. You usually don't have to force guys to do any bicep work. So, whatever your weak points are, identify them early so you can work on them. If you're going to be successful in anything, whether it's bodybuilding or anything out there, really, you've got to be consistent. Try and do it, and it sounds counterintuitive, but try to do the same thing every week. If you have a routine, stick to that routine. Especially if that routine is getting you good results, stick to that routine. If you know you do legs every Sunday, do legs every Sunday. Do it, especially if you're in the middle of a prep, try not to change too much. If you got something that works, I know I rest every Tuesday and I do back every Friday, shoulders every Saturday. Find a routine that works for you and stay consistent. If you have a consistent schedule, a consistent workout routine, or not just working out, if you have a consistent eating schedule, I know I eat right around this time. Like for me, it's about every 2.5 hours. Like right now, I'm starting to get a little hungry, so I know it's time to eat, But keep that routine consistent, because even if you forget or you get busy, you'll know that, okay, this is coming. So I know I got to do, I do my cardio in the morning, So the more consistent you are, the more likely you are to stick with it. Let's talk a little bit about peak week. Peak week is the week before your competition. You really want to plan that out. My very first competition, I didn't really plan my peak week. I planned like maybe the last 3 days. I did a little water manipulation. I did a little bit of calorie manipulation. You really want to plan that weeks in advance, because for me, especially if you're a bigger guy, like I was going in there over 200 pounds, you really want to plan that out. You want to say like, okay, I have a gallon of water, and 3 weeks out, it'll be 1 gallon of water a day. And then 2 weeks out, I'll cut that in half. It'll be half a gallon of water a day. And then the week of, it'll be even less than that. And then you might drop it down every week. Same thing with your calories. You might be getting 3,000 calories a day 4 weeks out. Then you cut it down in increments. Because if you try to If you try to do it all a couple of days before, if you try to manipulate your water or manipulate your calories just a couple of days before, even a week before, you're going to run into problems because your body is going to start to struggle. Your body's going to say to itself, oh crap, I was at 3,000 calories. Now he cut it down to 500. What the hell's he doing? I need to hang on to all this fat and all this water because I don't know when I'm going to get my next meal. Whereas if you plan it, if you bring it down slowly, and gradually, your body's not going to freak out. It's going to adapt, which is what you want. You want your body to adapt. You want it to use everything that it has, and you're going to see the results a lot better like that. So plan your peak week. I'm sure this has happened to every bodybuilder at some point. Every bodybuilder, every athlete, especially if you rely on your diet like bodybuilders tend to. Like, we live for our diet, but this has probably happened to everybody. At some point, you're on a roll, you're going week after week after week, your diet's consistent, your training's consistent, cardio, supplements, everything is consistent, and then you run out of food. Man, it happens at the exact time you don't need it to happen. You just come back from a great workout and your fridge is empty, especially if you're like me and you're on night shift and you're about to go to work and it's late. There's nothing open. There's no grocery stores open right now. So all you can do is like get a burger, get fast food, try to get something that's kind of not too bad. But the way that I got around this is I had to get food 2 weeks at a time. And I don't just mean buy food, I mean cook food. Like if you're like me, what I do, I take my chicken breasts, I'll take like 3 or 4 of the big packs that you get at the grocery store, and I'll cut it all up and I'll grill it all up and I'll put it in Tupperware and stick it in the fridge. So I'll get 2 big Tupperware containers and fill it up with chicken so I can eat for at least 2 weeks without worrying. Because the last thing you want to do in the middle of your prep is run out of food. You run out of food, your metabolism gets going so fast. If you run out of food, you might drop 5 pounds by missing one meal. That's how fast your metabolism can get. So make sure you have at least 2 weeks of food in your fridge at all times. On the day of the show, especially if it's your first show, it is going to be chaos. You have to get there early to check in. There's a bunch of people there. You got to weigh in. You got to sign in and all this stuff. Show them your thing, and it's just it's such a crazy day, and it's an all-day thing. You got pre-judging in the morning, then you come back like 5-6 o'clock at night for the night show if you make the finals, which I think in NPC, if you're a bodybuilder, it's a good shot you're probably going to make the finals. I think it's like top 6 make the finals. The most people I've ever been on stage with at one time is 4. So making the finals isn't as big a deal if you're a bodybuilder. I know for physique and bikini, there tend to be a lot more contestants, so making the finals, can be hit or miss in those categories. But for bodybuilding, it tends to be, if you're in the NPC shows, it tends to be that you're going to make the finals. If there's, 3 or 4 people in your weight class, they just end up taking everyone through. But that day is going to be crazy. So if you can get a couple of buddies to go with you, bring them. Try to get at least 2 friends to come with you. They don't have to stay with you all day, but try to get like one buddy in the morning, maybe another in the afternoon, because you need someone literally to watch your back, make sure that your tanner is all even in the back. I would bring some rubber gloves, some latex gloves, make sure it's all even. I would get another buddy to put glaze on you. You can buy some good glaze just from the grocery store. You don't have to buy that expensive shit that they sell online. You can just get it you can just get it right there in the next to the suntan lotion at the grocery store. But it really helps to have somebody that can get your back, can see it. Even if they don't know anything about bodybuilding, hey, take out your phone, take a picture. Here's what it looks like. Oh yeah, can you get that little spot right there? Get some buddies that you can trust that'll have your back. Also, if you have a buddy there and you need like food or a little bit of water or something to eat or just anything like that, it helps to have an extra pair of hands, because you don't want to be going back and forth to your car or the parking lot or trying to put on a pair of sweats and go to the store for something. It really, really helps to have a lot of support there. So if you got a buddy, maybe they're into bodybuilding, maybe they're a bodybuilder also, try to bring somebody there just for some support. It really, really helps. And last but not least, man, have fun, man. You've been training your ass off, literally, for months at this time. This is the time to really enjoy it, because, I mean, let's just be honest, if you're at the show, the day of the show, there's nothing else you can do. Man, the first competition I went to, there were all these guys back there with these mean mug looks on their face and like they're trying to intimidate people and get in your head and stuff like that. It's a local show. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm not saying you shouldn't do your best, but have fun, enjoy yourself. Take pictures with your buddies. Sometimes there's like a celebrity guest there. There was the competitions I went to, there was some celebrity I don't think they were celebrity bodybuilders, but they were like guys that, I think they were like CEOs of Gorilla Wear, and they were in there, is a man and woman, and they were both like super buff, you take pictures with them, and you take pictures with your buddies, and hey, look, we did this thing, and you're all ripped and shredded and oiled up and tanned up, this is the time to enjoy it, is the day of the show. I mean, yeah, you're going to go back there, you're going to, you're going to get headaches because you're dehydrated and you're hungry and all that, but this is really the time to embrace it, because you're going to get up there, you pose, you got your routine all worked out, you get your trophy, and then that night you go home and you eat up everything in the whole world, man. You go out and you have a great dinner. That was the best night ever, man. I went to Olive Garden after my first competition with my wife and my mom and my dad, and we all went out, and I got 2 tours of Italy. I don't know if you've ever been to Olive Garden and gotten a tour of Italy, but it's like pasta, a big piece of lasagna, breadsticks, and like a couple other things like meatballs or something. It's a huge meal, and I ate 2 of them that night and some dessert. So this is really the best time to enjoy it, is the day of the show. So don't get caught up in the bullshit with people trying to mean mug like they're gonna be pros or something. Some of those guys might be pros one day, but you know what? Even the pros know how to enjoy themselves at a competition. You're not going to see a whole bunch of guys back there, enjoy yourself. Don't take it super seriously. Go out there and do your best, but enjoy it. Thanks again for watching the podcast, you guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to BJBL Unleashed on YouTube. You could follow me on Instagram while you're at it. And don't forget, June 22nd, we are going to reveal that physique. We're going to see what all this hard work has done. I will see you guys next time for more Unleashed.